but first, we turn to the conflict in the Middle East.
For the first time, the United States directly strikes Iran, prompting new fears of a global conflict and potential retaliation in the region.
Yesterday, President Trump announced via social media that the U.S. bombed 3 nuclear sites in Iran, claiming the mission was a success. And we now know more about what weapons were used and how the attack was planned. NBC5's Jenn Schanz has been following this developing story all morning and has new details about the mission and the global response. Jen.
Christian, Kate, Operation Midnight Hammer is being hailed a success by President Trump and his team. This morning, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth spoke from the Pentagon, saying Iran's nuclear ambitions were, quote, obliterated.
As President Trump has stated, the United States does not seek war. But let me be clear. We will act swiftly and decisively when our people, our partners, or our interests are threatened.
Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
More than 125 U.S. military aircraft were used, and this was the second largest B-2 mission ever flown, only exceeded by those following September 11th. Hegseth also said this morning this attack, which occurred around 2:00 a.m. local time, was not about a regime change, but about U.S. national security. Without congressional approval, the U.S. sent so-called bunker buster bombs to 3 nuclear sites in Iran, Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. Iran's foreign minister didn't mince words this morning while speaking to the global media in Istanbul and says Iran will consult with Russia's President Vladimir Putin tomorrow. He called this attack unprecedented and says it risks bringing the world into chaos.
The U.S. administration holds sole and full responsibility for the consequences of its actions, including the Islamic Republic of Iran's right to self-defense under the principles of the United Charter.
Experts say if the U.S. is planning for an extended engagement of any kind, congressional support will be a must, and that neither the American left or the right is keen to engage in a larger Middle East conflict. And in Washington, the question of legality of these strikes is coming from both sides of the political aisle. U.S. Senator from Illinois Dick Durbin blasting the move, writing, quote, during his first term, President Trump killed the Iran nuclear deal, which he said invited a dangerous situation. He continues to say, quote, President Trump's actions in bombing Iran puts the U.S. on the brink of a wider war in the Middle East, all without constitutionally required congressional approval. Our recent experiences in Iraq should be a stark reminder of becoming embroiled in wars in the Middle East. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu praising the attack, saying it will, quote, change history. Here in Chicago today at Federal Plaza, more than a dozen local groups are expected to protest this recent action by the United States. That's coming up tonight at 5 o'clock. Kate, back to you.
All right, thank you for all that information, Jen.